HOA forced my 93-year-old mom to leave in 7 days. Then they met me. A Navy SEAL introduction. The letter arrived on a Tuesday morning. It was slipped under my mother's door like it was nothing, just another piece of paper. But the moment she read it, her hand started shaking. My mom is 93 years old. She's lived in that small house for almost 30 years. It's the home where she watched her grandchildren grow up, where she planted roses along the front walkway, where every neighbor knew her as the sweet elderly lady who baked cookies for everyone on the block. But according to the HOA, she had 7 days to leave. The HOA noticed the letter was blunt, cold, almost mechanical. Violation of community occupancy regulations. 7 days to vacate the property. No negotiation. No explanation. Just a threat that legal action would follow if she didn't comply. My mom called me that afternoon. Her voice sounded smaller than I'd ever heard it. "Sweetheart, I think they're trying to make me leave my house." The phone call, I was thousands of miles away on deployment when she called, and when she told me what happened, something inside me went cold. Not angry, not yelling, just focused. I asked one question. Did they explain why? She hesitated, then said quietly, "They said the house violates the new HOA occupancy rules." That didn't make sense. My mother owned the house outright. There was no mortgage, no lease, nothing they could terminate. Coming home, I finished my assignment early and flew home the next week. The moment I stepped into her living room, I could see the stress written all over her face. She looked tired, worried, and embarrassed, like she had somehow done something wrong. She handed me the letter. I read it once, then again, and realized something important. The HOA wasn't trying to enforce rules. They were trying to push her out. The real reason: later that afternoon, I walked the neighborhood, talking to neighbors, asking questions. Eventually, someone told me the truth. A developer had approached the HOA board. They wanted to buy several properties near the corner of the neighborhood. My mom's house was right in the middle of the land they wanted, and she had already refused to sell twice. The HOA's plan, since she wouldn't sell voluntarily. New occupancy regulations, threats of fines, and finally the eviction notice. They thought a 93-year-old woman living alone would panic and give up. They didn't know she had a son coming home. The HOA held their monthly meeting 2 days later. I decided to attend. When I walked into the room, the board members looked surprised. Karen, the HOA president, looked especially annoyed. "Residents only," she said. "I'm her son," I replied. She sighed dramatically. "Fine, make it quick." The confrontation: I placed the letter on the table. "You gave my mother 7 days to leave her own home." Karen leaned back in her chair. "She's violating occupancy regulations." I kept my voice calm. "She's a 93-year-old homeowner." Karen shrugged. "Rules apply to everyone." The problem with their plan. Then I slid another document across the table. A printed page from a law firm. Karen glanced at it. Her expression changed instantly. "What is this?" she asked. "A letter from our attorney," I said. "Specializing in housing discrimination and elder law." The room went very quiet. The legal reality: the letter explained several things. My mother owned the home outright. HOA rules cannot force a legal homeowner to vacate. Targeting an elderly resident could qualify as harassment and discrimination, and if the HOA continued enforcement, we would file a lawsuit, not just against the HOA but against every board member personally. The moment Karen realized, Karen tried to laugh it off. "You're threatening us." I shook my head. "No," I leaned forward slightly. "I'm explaining what happens next." Then I added one more sentence. "The lawsuit includes emotional distress damages." The neighbors speak up. Something unexpected happened next. A man in the back of the meeting raised his hand. "My mother lives here too," he said. "If the board can force her out, what stops them from forcing anyone out?" Another neighbor nodded. Then another. Suddenly the board wasn't just facing me, they were facing the entire room. "The board backs down," Karen whispered with the other board members for several minutes. They looked nervous and angry, but mostly nervous. Finally she cleared her throat. "The notice will be reconsidered." I shook my head. "No," she frowned. "What do you mean?" "One final condition." I slid one more paper across the table. "A formal document, prepared by our attorney. The HOA will withdraw the eviction notice in writing," I said, "and confirm that my mother is in full compliance with community rules." Karen stared at it, then asked quietly, "And if we don't?" The answer: I didn't raise my voice, didn't threaten. I just answered honestly. "Then tomorrow morning our attorney files the lawsuit." The room stayed silent for a long time. Finally Karen picked up a pen and signed. Aftermath: the HOA withdrew the eviction notice the next day. My mother stayed exactly where she belonged, in the home she had lived in for decades. Neighbors started stopping by more often after that, checking in, bringing food, making sure she knew she wasn't alone. Karen's reputation: Karen stayed on the HOA board for a few months after that, but the community never looked at her the same way again. Eventually she resigned. Turns out trying to evict a 93-year-old grandmother isn't great for your reputation. Closing the HOA thought they could pressure a vulnerable homeowner. They thought no one would fight back. They thought they could bully someone into leaving quietly. But sometimes the person you try to push around has someone ready to stand up for them. Call to action. Have you ever seen an HOA go too far? What would you have done if someone tried to force your parent out of their home? Tell me your story in the comments. And if you enjoy these real-life neighborhood drama stories, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more.